Hello everyone, my name is Steven. Although this is my first YouTube video, I myself have been investing heavily for the past 8 years. And not sure if this is gonna be a lot of help, but I will do my very best since I'm currently doing a lot of the research 24/7. The first one is gonna be Tesla. And I think we are in a dividing moment since we are in a symmetrical triangle pattern. Depends on how things unfold. It can either go up and down, making directions out of it. Since looking at the chart alone doesn't really help me where Tesla can go, I often look at how the gamma options are positioned. The green bar here is the call option, and the blue bar here is the put option. And since there are majority of the call gamma options in 330, it tells me that 330 is going to act as a resistance, enforcing downward pressure once the Tesla goes above 330. But at the same time, I can also see that there is a call option gamma accumulated at 350. This implies that once the stock goes above 330, there could be one force trying to bring it down, while there's another force trying to attract towards 350. So I guess where Tesla ultimately go depends on any good news regarding robotaxi or any others. And as for the put option, there are quite many of them in 320. So once the stock goes down up to 320, I think it will definitely act as a support. So just to briefly sum it up, in terms of the technicality, Tesla is right in the middle of this symmetrical triangle pattern. So it is in a situation where it can either go up or down. And also looking at how the options are positioned, as for the put options, there are a lot in 320, and as for the call options, there are many in 330 and 350. So the stock goes down up to 320, it will act as a support. But once it goes above 330, there could be a resistance forcing downward pressure as it goes above 330. But since there is also quite many of the call option in 350, I think there could be a tug of war between 330 call options and 350 call options too. So I guess Tesla is still vague at where things could go, and I guess its direction will be determined depending on any good news related to robotaxi or result of the CPI. And since I don't know how the good news are coming out, I'm gonna focus on the result of the CPI. Looking at CPI, which is scheduled on 12th of the August, CPI month over month is 0.2%. Core CPI is 0.3%. CPI year over year is 2.8%. Core CPI year over year is 3.0%. And I think this headline CPI is the most generous stuff out of all. I think I'm going to make a forecast what kind of the result we could expect tomorrow for CPI. Right now, it is projected to be 2.8%, and the previous month was 2.7%. And I usually refer to this inflation swap market forecast for CPI because its accuracy is pretty high, and it says right now is 2.76%. The forecast of 2.76% means the actual result of the CPI could be either be 2.7% or 2.8%, because that's how things have been in the past. I have been tracking this CPI since quite a long time ago, as you can see. And when the inflation swap market forecasts a certain value, most of the time the actual value turns out to be the same as the inflation swap value or the above. So since it's projecting 2.76% in terms of the today, if it follows the history, I think it will be either 2.7% or 2.8%, being 2.9% result unlikely. What's ultimately important is how the stock market reacts upon getting the result, right? It may seem a bit tricky, but I think it entirely depends on how the dollar reacts. There could be three outcomes in CPI. One could be 2.8%, which meets the consensus, and one could be 2.7%, which misses the consensus, and another could be 2.9%, which goes above the consensus. And from the inflation swap market's result predictions, I think 2.9% is quite unlikely since it's projecting 2.76%, which means It could be either 2.7% or 2.8%. So I think it makes sense for me to think of the scenario where the CPI hits 2.7% or 2.8%. If the CPI turns out to be 2.7%, that means the inflation has disappointed downward, and that means that the dollar could go down, because if it is inflation, the dollar goes up. If it is deflation, the dollar goes down. And under the environment where the recession is unlikely to happen, if the dollar goes down, the stock goes up, and if the dollar goes up, the stock goes down. That's how things have been like in the past, except for 2nd of the April, which is the known to be a Liberation Day. And because of the tariff, the market was thinking the recession is likely to happen. That's why the dollar went down and the stock market went down too. But except for this time, usually the correlation is that if the dollar goes down, the stock goes up. So I think that was for 2.7%. And if it turns out to be 2.8%, that things could be a bit sort of tricky, because it is just meeting the consensus. And I think we have to refer to how the dollar reacts and 10-year treasury yield reacts. Of course, the dollar going up, the stock goes down. The dollar go down, the stock goes up. So I think as for 2.8%, we have to look at how the dollar and 10-year treasury yield react upon it. As for today, Tesla is in 330, and although its second quarter earning wasn't that great, the market apparently is giving more value onto the robotaxi, and that's why it still hasn't fallen down a lot ever since then. And now that Tesla's robotaxi has gotten licensed to operate its service in Texas Austin as of 6th of August under new law, I think it's a matter of time before the robotaxi gets acknowledged in the United States. And of course, there could be a lot of the volatility, since Tesla is fueled by expectations so far, not by the result. But I think there will be a point in time where the expectations bring up the Tesla stock. After that, the result supports the price action. Because apparently, Wall Street is expecting the growth rate to rebound starting from 2026. And Elon Musk has said that Tesla will be doing well at least from third quarter of 2026, meaning it could be soon, like second or first quarter. So I intend to stay invested for Tesla, and I will try to inform you guys as often as I can. If you think this video was useful, please don't forget to press like button and subscribe button. And if there is any other stock you'd like me to study, please leave the comments below. Thank you for watching my video up to this far, and I will see you again.